Hey, what's up, guys? Tugi here, back again with another episode of my Montreal Canadiens franchise mode series here on NHL 18. Now, this is going to be a very important episode for the future of this series, but I want to make sure, I'm sure most of you still follow along with the Hartford series as well. If you don't, and you've only been following this series, I encourage you to check out at least the first 5-6 minutes of that Hartford video. It kind of explains why there hasn't been a video in a few days for this, and I apologize for that. And it goes into detail about me getting flagged for quote-unquote content inappropriate for some or all sponsors, which, yes, it appears aspects of the adpocalypse have found its way to my channel, but I went into it in pretty good detail in that Hartford video, so I will say, just go check that out if you haven't already. We are going to get right down to business with this episode, with what we have to do here, because there is a lot we have to do, as this will be the beginning of us kind of retooling, if not completely rebuilding, the Montreal Canadiens. Now, the first step, I mentioned before, when it comes to trading anybody who isn't on an expiring deal, I'm going to hold off because I don't like trading for picks before the draft, just because it is a crapshoot, which hopefully I'm allowed to say, by the way, is crapshoot offensive. It's a shot in the dark. So many times we've traded for picks and lost out because that team ended up making the playoffs. I don't want that situation to happen. So I only want to focus on re-signing some players if I can. I want to focus on trading those players later. What I'm trying to say right now, and again, I'm sorry, it's just that I'm trying to watch my language too. Right now, the players we're looking at getting rid of. Forbort doesn't want to stay. Coyle doesn't want to stay, which, I'm not going to fight it. And he wants $5.2 million. That's not going to happen. So at the very least, Coyle and Forbort are on their way out. We know Sherbak, Lehkonen, and Hudon are more than likely on their way out. But I'm thinking we're going to try to re-sign Alex Galchenyuk. We're also going to re-sign Nurse and AJ Greer. In the meantime, at least we're going to see if we can get them to re-sign. If they don't, that creates a little bit of an issue. Now, Galchenyuk wants $6.3 million. I'm just going to see how he feels about 6x6. Maybe he'll be a little bit kind to us. Darnell Nurse, of course, a good top four defenseman. We'll ask about 4.5 for him. We'll only lower his amount by a little bit. And then AJ Greer, he might not be the best, fourth liner possible. Really, he's just an energy guy when you look at his attributes. Good speed, good physicality, which normally I like my fourth line players to be a bit more defensive oriented. But you got to figure, if we have the center and right wing of the fourth line be good defensive players, Greer can kind of be that energy guy. That might be a good mix. So we'll see what happens from there. But again, as much as I hate to admit it, Hudon, Lehkonen, and Sherbak, we're going to get rid of them. It really does suck. And then Charlie Coyle and Derek Forbort will be on their way out as well. When it comes to goaltenders, of course, we're good. If Ryan Miller has any value, we'll look to get rid of him. And as far as other players with expiring deals, Addison, Audette, Bork, Ferraro, and Juleson, we'll worry about them later. We'll worry about them when the time comes. If we do end up trading Miller, Fucale will be the backup, and maybe we'll worry about re-signing him. But the only players I'm worried about re-signing right now are Galchenyuk, Nurse, and Greer. So we are going to still make a couple of moves before we move forward and get answers from them. And, of course, at this point, you already know the players that we're considering moving. So let's go ahead and get right down to business, shall we? Now, I'm not saying that I'm going to completely avoid trading for draft picks. Draft picks will be involved. As it stands, we do have that extra second-round pick from Columbus, which is pretty nice. But Ryan Miller does have a little bit of value, so that's good. We should be able to take advantage of that. What team could really use a backup goalie? And what do you know? We could look to send him right back to Anaheim. Now, they're looking to sell a little bit, so we might be looking at draft picks, and to be honest, they're not getting rid of any picks that really work out for us, so maybe Anaheim isn't the perfect landing spot for the team. The Bruins, do they need a backup goaltender? They do. Vladar and McIntyre aren't quite there. Do they have anybody that I'd like to pick up? They're looking to sell a little bit, which means draft pick-wise, they're not looking to get rid of anything great. Why are they looking to sell? They have a 34-25-2 record. That doesn't make much sense. I mean, I would like to trade him to a team that wants him just to get a little bit more value out of it. Edmonton, they're trading draft picks. Do they need a backup goalie? I mean, you could kind of argue, yeah. I mean, especially with Talbot hurt, they got Budai and McElhaney. We would have to take back a goalie. They would have too many goaltenders otherwise. I wouldn't be opposed to getting McElhaney back in this deal. We'd have to sign a goalie anyway. So Miller, and let's see. We could go for Tyler Benson. Not the best prospect in the world, though. 73 overall, 21 years old. They have our first round pick because of Jesse Puljujarvi. That is the one downside. But again, we didn't expect to be this bad. And hopefully whoever they get with that pick isn't better than Puljujarvi in the long run. So let's see. I mean, a second round pick, that's going to be too much. But we're just testing the waters. So say our third round pick and maybe a sixth, along with McElhaney. I'm good with that. Question is, are they good with that? They are not. Value's just a little bit low. All right, so the third round pick may still be possible, which is a decent return for Ryan Miller. And there you go. So our first deal, it's a big one. Ryan Miller to Edmonton for Curtis McElhaney, a third and a seventh. So there you go. Zachary Fucale will get the call-up. He will be the backup for the rest of the year, and McElhaney is going to be the depth guy. Like, Hallinen's still going to be the backup, so McElhaney's just here as the fifth goaltender. Kind of a similar situation to what's probably going to happen to him in real life, where, of course, Toronto acquired Pickard. So Fucale gets the call-up, which is good for him. On defense, again, we're going to wait to hear back from Nurse. Guys like Weber and Petrie, they'll be moved later on, but Derek Forbort has to go. Which is a damn shame. I do think he is a decent member of this team, but right now is the right time to get rid of him. And as far as teams that are actually getting rid of certain players, again, I'm looking at prospects. Cap space-wise, we might be able to get that to work out. Maybe. Let's see, you got Farabee, who is one of the players I'm looking at. Farabee is one of the key players who I think could be a decent addition. You got Cale Makar, but he's a little bit too good. So with Florida, you got a player like Joel Farabee, who of course was created, a real player, projected to be drafted soon, 70 overall at 19 years old. Now that would be a fine addition to this team. We'd have to give up a little bit more than Forbort to make it happen, but it's obviously worth it. Now the bar is still red, so we will more than likely have to take back somebody with an expiring deal, but I'm okay with that. Evgeny Dadonov. Evgeny Dadonov is the perfect player. Petrovic, 2 years left. 2 years left. If he had 1 year left, he would have been perfect. Patrick Wiercott. Patrick Wiercott might be an even better option. Would that go through? No, it won't. Worth a shot. That's all I'm saying. Worth a shot. Now, when it comes to Lehkonen, Charlie Hedon, Sherback, I'd really prefer to trade them to a Western Conference team. So we're not looking at adding them to this deal. But is there anybody else where it really just kind of makes sense? We got the trio of 21-year-olds. Actually, it's a quartet of 21-year-olds. You also got Bork as well, who is 73 overall at 23. He doesn't really have that much value, but we may just be able to kind of cheat it. Say we add Winkler and Krejci to this deal, players that really don't have that much value for us. And let's see, to be honest, I don't think this is going to work. We'll also add Rodriguez and Alberts. It's a little bit cheap, but it may potentially go through. It didn't. All right, so again, that is a little bit of a cheap strategy, but I'm doing what I got to do. So let's see. Let's go forwards in general. And let's take a look. You got Glebov, Zhamnov, Dvorak, Leg. Right. Twarniski, 22 years old, only a 66. We can add him to this deal. That's for sure. 22 overall. Or 22 years old, 66 overall. I made the same... I misspoke in the same way in the Hartford episode. Kosarenkov, I don't think is going to make it either. So Twarniski and Kosarenkov, we'll look to move both of them out as well. That does put them back into the red, but it may still work. I'm going to safety net this with a 6th round pick, and we'll see. Nope. How about straight up? Still no. All right, so instead of Twarniski, we'll offer them Kosarenkov, who has a little bit of extra value. And again, I want to safety net this. Weirkoch is a rental. The main piece here is Joel Farabee. Let's safety net it with a 4th and a 6th. I was just going to go with the 4th. We'll try to be extra precautious, or take extra precautions with this. Be extra cautious about it. Will it go through straight up? No, it won't. Because they're not interested in Kosarenkov. Right. Well, I mean, we still have other pieces to give up, like a Carson Twarniski, who isn't really going to work out for us. We would have to take back another player. That's fine. As long as it's someone with a 1-year deal. Like, I think that's Sebastian Repo. Am I correct? I am. He could be a decent player for us for the rest of the year, or Lamiko for that matter. Let's see. That might go through. Again, this is all about getting Joel Farabee, who is looking like a pretty likely player to actually do some damage here. Forbort's got to go, and I don't have faith that these two are going to progress. Will that go through? Yes, it will. So there you go. Derek Forbort, Ivan Kosarenkov, and Carson Twarniski off to Florida for a package that mainly centers around prospect Joel Farabee. We're beginning to change this team, that is for sure. And Patrick Weirkoch will probably play on that third pairing with Will Butcher for the rest of the year. The unfortunate thing is a lot of these players might start to realize, he's selling. I don't want to re-sign here. Like that. That could be a thing, and that does kind of scare me a little bit. But we got to do what's best for the future of this team. And again, if you look at players with an expiring deal, you got Nurse, Juleson, Weirkoch, Bork. So we're good to go there. I could offload some of these players that are never going to sign with the team. Smith and Ball, not included. But the other ones we might offload to be a little bit cheap and to try and get some draft picks back. Let's take a look here. So next out the door, is Arturi Lehkonen. It's a sad day. But again, Lehkonen, Sherbak, Hudon, such big plans for them. Such big plans, but it's like when you look at the future of this team, again, if we do the complete retooling, the scorched earth approach of rebuilding, you're talking about someone like Pacioretty being traded, and then of course we talked about whether someone like Gallagher stays. But it's like you look at this top 6. I mean, the top 6: Puljujarvi, Galchenyuk, Drouin. From there, I mean, it could be Gallagher, Hudon, Lehkonen, with Deneau, Sherbak, and whoever else on the third line. You know what? We might give them another chance. We might give them a little bit more time, just a little bit, until the end of the month to see what they can do. I am trying to give them every opportunity to turn it around. I am trying. Let's see here. So again, Charlie will stay for the moment. And then centers, Charlie Coyle has to go. And he is pretty much the only one that we're worried about right now, at least as far as those who actually have decent value, unless Galchenyuk resigns. So Charlie Coyle is the next guy that we'll look to move for now, and then we're gonna be a little bit we're gonna play it a little bit safe with some of the other guys. So let's see here. Quentin Hughes would be a decent option. He's currently injured. Connor Roberts is only a 63 at 20 years old. That's not incredible, but Quentin Hughes is definitely an option. You got Bancroft on the Rangers. Eggenberger's only a 63. Scrivens is a 65. Nobody on Ottawa. Nobody on Philly. Again, let's take a look. So it was Nashville, which is perfect. Because, again, I prefer to trade him to the West. You also have Josh Norris, 73 overall at 19 years old. He is a really good option as well. I mean, we did just acquire Farabee, so maybe now is the right time to get that defensive improvement. From Toronto, Kasperi Kapanen is an RFA. But how much do I really want to give up to get Kasperi? Then again, getting someone like Kasperi Kapanen would be nice. I'm not afraid of trading Charlie Coyle to Toronto, because there's no guarantee he'd re-sign, and they're struggling in the cap space to begin with, so I don't even think a trade would be possible, would it? It might actually be possible. If I trade Charlie Coyle to Toronto for Kasperi Kapanen, there's a decent chance that Toronto has to let go of somebody to re-sign Coyle, or they let go of Coyle in general, which means we get Kasperi Kapanen. And that's, I mean, I was thinking, honestly, of Logan Stanley. He would be a good option, as would Quentin Hughes from Nashville. But we have time because we might have other players to trade. The only player I'm willing to trade, though, to Toronto is Charlie Coyle. And if we can get Kasperi Kapanen because of that, I mean, come on. So we're going to see if we can get this to work. Again, they would have trouble holding on to Charlie Coyle. So what if I do a third and a sixth, just to kind of safety net this? Rejected. How about just the third? Still rejected. All right. Hey, worth a shot. Worth a shot because they want to trade him. How about a fourth and a sixth? Will that go through? Still rejected. Just the fourth? We'll have to sweeten it just a touch. We're close, though. We're going to be able to trade Charlie Coyle to Toronto for Kasperi Kapanen and a fourth. We're going to try, you know what, I'm not even going to give up the sevenths. I'm going to try to give up these unsigned players who are never going to make it. So let's add Krejci to the deal. Still rejected. So we'll add Winkler to the deal. Still rejected. I'm cool with that, though. Again, I don't expect these players to have value. Rodriguez, is that enough? Yes, it is. Charlie Coyle. And again, you guys know I hate trading within the division, but this is the perfect time to do it. Charlie Coyle, Krejci, Winkler, and Rodriguez to Toronto for Kasperi Kapanen and a fourth-round selection. There you go. So at the very least, if it turns out that we have to get rid of Hudon and we have to get rid of Lehkonen and Sherback, we did just add Kasperi Kapanen. Now, he was listed as an RFA. I don't think we can technically sign him now for the rest of this year. But I'm okay with that. Let's call up Landon Ferraro. We'll go best lines. And for the moment, we are good to go. We are. We're going to give the other players a chance. Again, one final opportunity for Hudon, Sherback, and Lehkonen to kind of prove themselves. And we still need to hear back from Galchenyuk and Darnell Nurse. So let's take a look. And again, I'm worried about the morale. I mean, we still have the champion status, which is hilarious. Now, again, I don't believe I'm allowed to sign Kasperi Kapanen at this point. We got $4 million in cap space. Let's take a look. Let's go to unsigned. That's incredible, though, that we just got him for Charlie Coyle. So, yeah, I'm not allowed to sign him for the... or am I? No. So, okay. So, Kasperi Kapanen's off limits for the rest of the year because it's past December 1st. But still, we have his rights. We could just tender him like Toronto ended up doing, and we could get good picks out of that. Certainly better than probably what we would have gotten for Coyle. So I really like the current spot we find ourselves in. Now, as far as how we're going to set up the team moving forward, I went to the wrong part of town. Went to the wrong part of town. I would like to edit lines, not view lines. Thank you very much. So let's take a look here. We're going to go best lines. We're going to go best lines. And again, I want to put Lehkonen and Hudon in a better spot. And I want Sherback to be in a decent enough spot. That fourth line's fine the way it is. It's actually fairly good. We'll see how well, not really. It's kind of garbage, but it's okay. So the third line is going to be Sherbak, Deneau, Gallagher. So Gallagher has to suffer a little bit so that we can figure out what the hell's going on. But right now, Nikita Sherbak, as it stands, and you know what? Let's get that nice, sweet little keyboard ASMR in there. He is 5 goals and 8 assists. We will keep that in mind. The second line of Puljujärvi, Lehkonen, and Hudon. Lehkonen is currently on 10 goals and 7 assists, a minus 14. And Charlie Hudon is currently on 2 goals with 17 assists. Again, they'll be playing with Puljujärvi. So then, of course, the top line remains the same. I do want to make sure Gallagher has power play time. He does. Perfect. And then, of course, on defense, we now have Patrick Wiercott, which, cool, I guess. And honestly, we're going to bump Shea Weber off the top line. We're going to go with Nurse and Dumba. The odds that Petrie and Weber survive, again, I know what some people are probably saying, just trade them now. Who gives a damn? And I don't necessarily disagree with that. But again, I at least want to know for sure what draft pick I'm getting. And that might cost us certain players, certain assets, and I get that. I'm fine with that, though. I'm fine with that because I don't want to completely tank our morale all at once. At least not yet. We'll do that during the offseason when they have time to kind of rebuild. So again, Lehkonen, Hudon, Puljujärvi. And we'll see what happens from there. Philip Deneau. I mean, if Sherbak can't perform with Deneau and Gallagher, then it's just not going to happen. So again, we give that trio one last chance. One final chance. And you know what? I still don't know if it does anything. We'll edit strategies, right? We'll edit strategies. We'll change it to 2-3 works. We'll drop that back. We'll change that to standard. Power play is fine. And then forward lines, we have on overload, which is, of course, fine. Second line, still on overload, which is fine. Third line, overload. Defense, or fourth line is crash the net, which is fine. We'll change that to behind the net. You know what? Overload. Works for me. Again, do I know for sure if it does anything? No, I don't. Some people swear by it. Other people say it does absolutely nothing. But we will see what happens. We have a little bit of time before the deadline, and I mean a little bit, as in we have 3 games. That's a little bit more time for them to prove themselves. We win the first game 3-2. Nurse is back. Galchenyuk is back. Greer is back. That is tremendous. We did lose 2-1 to Pittsburgh. Let's take a look here. We're going to get the warning about the trade deadline, I imagine. There it is. And we beat Chicago 3-2. Right. So Sherbak, Lehkonen, and Charlie Hudon. Did you improve at all is the question. I know some people are saying, hey, you could still probably make the playoffs, but you have to remember, again, we don't want to be here. We want to be up by Tampa. We don't want to be on 64 points in 62 games. That's just not good enough. So, moment of truth. Artturi Lehkonen was on 10 goals, 7 assists, and he still is. He's done. Charlie Hudon was on 2 goals, 17 assists. He at least added a goal. Nikita Sherbak, 5 and 8. 2 goals, 1 assist for Nikita Sherbak. Oh, damn. You know what? I still think we have to get rid of him. And then our top 6 next year, we are more than likely looking at, I would probably say, maybe Pacioretty. Honestly, it might even end up being Pacioretty, Galchenyuk, Puljujärvi, Kapanen, Drouin, Gallagher. Or something like that. Lehkonen, is listed as a third-line guy, as is Sherbak and Hudon, but we played them together so frequently, and it just didn't work. I think you guys could tell just how badly I want to keep that trio. But it's just not going to work, even with Sherbak improving. It's too little too late. So our third line next year will definitely be Deneau with 2 other players. I don't know who. Odds are McCarron will still be on our fourth line. So we're going to have to rebuild that bottom 6, but the addition of Kasperi Kapanen certainly helps out. So right now I am actually leaning towards retooling. It's a rebuild, but it's also retooling. And it's a rebuild because odds are we're still going to trade Weber and Petrie. The defense is going to look pretty damn different. But at the moment, Sherbak, Lehkonen, and Charlie Hudon have to go. They have to go. It's too little too late, fellas. I really wanted you to be in the top 6 for a good portion of this series. It's just not going to happen. So we have to move on. And I know what some people are saying too, oh, the free agent list, and the fact that Matt Duchene is there, and sign Matt Duchene, and then trade him. And it's like, how cheap do you want me to be? I mean, here's the thing. I could get him for cheap for the rest of the season. There's no doubt about that. We could play him in the top 6 for the rest of the season. I could definitely do that. We could actually afford him as it stands. To be honest, I might do that because, yeah, the team's going to be looking a little bit rough once we can complete these next few trades. And again, if you're talking about targets, we're talking about Quentin Hughes on Nashville, Josh Norris from San Jose, and potentially a Logan Stanley from Winnipeg. And Logan Stanley is actually off the block. Was he traded, or has he been removed from the trading block? Let's take a look. Let's take a look. By giving them that extra chance, we could have missed out on a chance to acquire Logan Stanley. Kevin Connauton in a 6th-round pick swapped for Jeff Blake. The Kapanen deal. No, they just flat out took him off the block. Also, you had the Evander Kane trade. I don't remember if I read through these. I am just going to quickly... well, there you go. Those are the deals that you may have missed. You can pause the screen right now. Otherwise, we're moving on because I don't remember if I already read those deals off. So Logan Stanley's off the block. I honestly didn't think they would change trade blocks or that they'd edit it that late. So we'll go back and take a look through these teams again. Honestly, Christian Vesalainen wouldn't be a bad bet. But, I mean, low top 6 is what's concerning for him. 20 years old. Johansson, no way. 22 years old. It's not going to happen. Vegas isn't shopping anybody. Vancouver's getting rid of Sutter. It's not going to happen. Charlie Coyle's immediately on the block for Toronto. You're welcome. I am proud of myself for that one. Let's see. Yeah, those guys, that trio is not going to work out. You got Thomas at a 64 overall, 20 years old. No thank you. Jordan Kyrou. It's not going to work. Norris is still on the block for San Jose. So we're definitely looking at Norris. And again, I want to focus on Western teams. You got Quentin Hughes and Connor Roberts still there. Hughes is definitely a target. Minnesota has high notes. 66 overall at 18 years old. All right. Not Florida. Edmonton. Just Benson. Dallas, they're getting rid of Hansel, so no thank you. Colorado, shopping Cale Makar, but I don't think we're going to get that to work out for us. Chicago with Vinny Hinostroza. Now, Hinostroza could, much like with Kasperi Kapanen, it may be worth picking up Vinny Hinostroza. He's actually a really well-rounded player and could be good for the third line. He could be good for the third line. That's actually an intriguing option for us in the form of Vinny Hinostroza. You know what? I like that idea. How much is he possibly going to ask for anyway? Worst comes to worst, we just, qualify him and then move on. So again, he won't factor into the team this year, but it could still be worth it. So, prospect-wise, we talked about or mentioned how we could get rid of one of these players if we had to. I don't think we will. We'll keep the trio of 21-year-olds. But as far as potential goes, I mean, it is a Western team. So Lehkonen has the most value, ever so slightly over Sherbak and Hudon. So Charlie, how would you like to be a Blackhawk? How would Charlie Hudon like to be a Blackhawk? That is the question. We need to swap you for whoever the hell we can that has 1 year left. You got 14. Anybody else that might actually be NHL caliber? Highmore. Let's scroll all the way down here. Okay, so the value starts going up there. John Hayden. We also have Dauphin, but he has more than 1 year left. You got Boma. John Hayden might be a decent enough pickup. Does he have a picture now, by the way? He doesn't. But considering who we're getting rid of, he might be helpful to have just for the rest of the year. It doesn't help out enough with the cap, though. So let's take a look, because we can afford to take on a little bit of cap if we have to, and that would be where Ben Sherratt comes in, or Boma. So let's see. Lance Boma? Still not enough, huh? Still not enough. Well, how about Boma and Ben Sherratt? How does that sound? Still not enough. What the hell is going on in Chicago? All right, well, Boma... Here, you know what? Let's just go for Boma and John Hayden. There we go. That works. So Hinostroza, Boma, and Hayden. And we're trying to send them Charlie Hudon. I'm going to safety net this. I just want to see what happens if I go for Detroit's 4th round pick. So that didn't go through. Straight up? No. All right, so... Again, let's go ahead and see if we can try the old tack-on unneeded prospects deal. Saberine and Alberts. Is that enough? No, it's not. We'll still try this. I know I'm not sending them players that they want. I'm aware of that. How about another Jamnov to Chicago? Still no? And do we have any left wings? We do. How about Leg? Is that enough? No, it isn't. So we'll take Alberts out of there. And I'm willing to throw in a pick to make this happen. How about a nice shiny 4th rounder from Florida? Is that enough? No, it is not. No, it is not. So maybe I'm willing to give up a 3rd rounder. Maybe. Or what if we take Jamnov out of there? We go a 4th and a 6th, both from Florida. Is that enough? It's close to fair value. All right, how about a 4th and a 5th from Minnesota? So it's Charlie Hudon, essentially for Vinny Hinostroza, and we pick up Boma and Hayden for the rest of the year. I'm cool with that. And maybe Vinny Hinostroza would be a better fit. We're still going to have to give up a little bit more, which is unfortunate, but we can manage it. Is 2 4th round picks enough? No, it is not. They'd have to put Vili Polka on waivers, even though the bar is perfect. Right. Okay. Well, it wouldn't be a deal with Chicago without there being cap implications, now would it? So we might not be able to get this deal to work out because there really isn't anybody else that has a lower hit. I mean, unless I also take Ben Sherratt, which, I mean, I'll see if I can get it to work. I mean, Sherratt will just kind of sit there, but Sherratt, Boma, and Hayden. Right. This is turning into a pretty ridiculous deal. But again, these guys are only going to be around for the season. 2 4th round picks? Not enough. How about, I don't want to give up the 3rd, but a 3rd round pick next year, and you give up a 4th rounder this year. What do you say? Rejected. Oh, Chicago, you're killing me here. I really want Vinny Hinostroza. And it's not looking like we're going to be able to get him because just trying to work around their current cap crunch, it creates a little bit of a mess. Straight up, still no. I'll add a 5th rounder to it. What do you say to that? Please? No. We'll try the 4th round pick. If this doesn't work, we got to move on. We got to move on if this doesn't work, and it didn't. All right, well, Charlie, you're not going to be a Blackhawk. I hate to break it to you. I hate to break it to you. So Detroit, or Dallas didn't have anybody. Neither did Detroit. So Minnesota has High Note. Nashville has Hughes and Roberts. San Jose has Norris. So I guess we have our 3 teams, don't we? I guess we have our 3 teams. So Minnesota, we are going to go after 18-year-old prospect Murray High Note. He was the 9th overall pick in 2019. He is the target. Now, value-wise, obviously, we're going to have to work a little bit to get this to, go through. Cap-wise, Koivu. We could take on Koivu for the rest of the year, and it's funny that we sent them Shaw. We could take on Koivu for the rest of the year. I'm okay with that. I'm alright with that, and then we'll just let him go at the end of this. So we'll take on Mikko Koivu for the rest of the year. That'll free up a little bit of cap for you, and will honestly get us a half-decent player for the rest of the year. Not that we necessarily need him. And again, it was there anybody else we needed to get rid of? 23 years old, 72 overall for Audette, but he doesn't have much value. Elnuik might be worth getting rid of. 22 years old, only a 70. This is a little bit concerning. Let me take a look at the ages here. So let's see, 77. So yeah, you have Audette at 23. He's a 72. Audette, Addison, Repo, Elnuik. They're not exactly looking too good. So we can look to get rid of them. And someone like Will Bitton is in pretty big trouble if we hope to actually have him make the team at some point. So we'll add Hudson Elnuik to this deal to try and get Murray High Notes. And we'll safety net this with a 5th round pick next year. What does Minnesota say to that? Still no. Straight up? Still no. Okay, so I'm overrating Elnuik's value by just a little bit. We'll only say by a little bit. So let's see. Repo, Jamnoff, and Leg. How do you guys feel about that? Not good enough is the correct answer. Draft picks. We'll try the 4th and the 5th. Will that work? No. We'll try another 5th round pick. Again, yeah, I'm trying to be a little bit stingy about this. You can't blame me. We'll take out that 5th round pick for a 4th round pick from Toronto. What do you say to that? And we'll take out that other 5th for another 4th round pick. We'll give up our own. Will that go through? No. Apparently we're not even close. So I am a little bit concerned about this because I don't want to give up too much aside from, giving up Charlie Hodon in the first place. So let's see. Lashishin's worth keeping. Bitten's a bit of a risk, but we're going to keep him for now. You got Elnuik, and then from there, it just kind of drops off. All right, we might have to give up a little bit more to make this happen, but let's do it. Our 3rd round pick this year. To acquire a former 1st round pick, 9th overall. So we'll go 5th and a 6th next year. What do you say to that? Still no, value's too far off. What about just the 5th? Not sufficient at all. It's funny how it goes from a little bit off to, oh no, it's not sufficient at all. 6th round pick? Straight up. Wow, we're still that far off, huh? We're still that far off from making this happen. What about an extra 4th round pick from your buddies, the Florida Panthers? Still no. What about another 4th round pick? We might have to rely solely on the 2 players from Nashville and Josh Norris. Or not. It went through. The extra 4th round pick was enough. So Charlie Hodon, along with Hudson Elnuik, and a few picks, a 3rd and 2 4ths, are off to Minnesota for Murray High Notes and Mikko Koivu, who is a rental at this stage. Charlie Hodon, again, I wanted him to be a main part of this team. It just didn't happen. It just didn't happen. 21 points or whatever it was, not even. Even on the 3rd line, that's not good enough. He was barely on pace to hit 30 points, and that is bare minimum out of my 3rd liners, at least for what I'm looking for. You could argue he was worth keeping because maybe he was a good PK guy, but again, and I can't get over this because I didn't want to trade him. But it's so obvious, it just wasn't working, no matter what the hell we did. But again, as far as a player goes, good two-way player, right? Really good two-way player. He had 20 points. He went from 35 points, which is incredible, to 24 points, and now he's at 20 points in 20 less games. You think he's going to hit 30? Probably not. Although, granted, he is on Minnesota. Maybe they'll have a line combo that works. But it wasn't working. And it sucks because he's perfect as a 3rd liner. Attribute-wise, he's exactly what I want. but the offensive production just wasn't there along with the defensive production. But hey, I can't sit here and cry about it at this point. I can't sit here and mope. He is gone. He is off to Minnesota. And now we get to talk to Nashville. And actually, you know what? We're going to go talk. I mean, it's Nashville. You have Roberts, 63 overall, 20 years old. I think we're going to look to get Quentin Hughes, and then we'll try to get Norris. And Quentin Hughes is a beast of an offensive defenseman. And then we'll try to get Norris from San Jose. That's what we're looking at here. So Nikita Sherbak, who has more value? I imagine it's Lehkonen. Indeed it is Artturi Lehkonen. So we're going to work out another pretty big deal with Nashville. Of course, that won't go through straight up. Worth a shot, though. And who do we have that we can send along in this deal? So again, we got Alberts, Dvorak, Sabourin, and Legg. We'll just kind of throw all of them in there just to see. Why not? Again, I don't need them. I'm going to trade them for picks anyway. Really low picks. Will it go through straight up? No, it won't. Okay, so we'll take Sabourin out of it. And we'll toss in a 5th-round pick from the Wild. What do they say to that? No. We'll try the 4th-round pick from Toronto. And that went through. Wow, so there you go. Just like that. Artturi Lehkonen, a 4th-round pick, and a bunch of scrubs. And we ended up with Quentin Hughes. All right. Again, Lehkonen just wasn't working out, buddy. Just wasn't working out. So we will call up Audette, I suppose. Actually, you know what? Let's leave that the same for the moment. We have one more deal to make, and that is to get rid of Nikita Sherbak, and we're going to try to send him out to San Jose. Overall, I feel like this has gone incredibly well for us. I really do. Especially, too, if we can get this deal to work. So let's see. We're going to have to take back a little bit of salary. Jannik Hansen is perfect. Jannik Hansen or Joel Ward. It looks like Joel Ward might have slightly less value. So we'll take on Joel Ward for the rest of the year. And we'll try to send Nikita Sherbak out west. And again, we're going to kind of do the same thing that we just did. You got Glebov, Zhamnov, and Sabourin as the last 3. We're never going to sign any of that trio. Will that go through? No, it won't. So now we'll have to rely on picks. I'm willing to give up a 3rd-round pick next year. I'm just throwing that out there. But the Minnesota 5th, not enough. We'll try the 4th-round pick this year. Still not enough. We'll go to the 3rd-round pick next year. I want to safety net this with a 6th-round pick. And of course, by safety net, I just mean I want to make sure I get a little bit back in case I accidentally overvalued it. The 3rd-round pick isn't enough. We'll take out Glebov. He has no value. The Montreal 5th, no. We'll try our own 4th-round pick now. Will this work? We'll have to sweeten it just a touch. So we'll take out Zhamnov. And we'll add the Minnesota 6th. So Sherbak, Sabourin, a 3rd, 4th, and 6th for Josh Norris and Joel Ward. That still didn't go through. We'll try the 5th-round pick instead. We'll use our own because why the hell not? Still no. All right. Well, let's tack on a 4th-round pick next year for Minnesota then. How about that? A 3rd and 2 4ths. And there you go. Nikita Sherbak goes to San Jose. We bring back Josh Norris in the deal as we are definitely retooling. So we need to sign at least one more forward. I want to make sure that Norris and Highnote are down in the AHL. So if we go best lines right now, we definitely have a spot in that top 6. So Duchesne? Try to sign Duchesne? And then, Greer, Koivu, McCarron. The bottom 6 is going to be a mess, but that's fine. That's fine. So yeah, we'll see if we can sign Matt Duchesne. Now, of course, taking on some salary like I did could hurt that. Not denying that taking on some salary might not have been the wisest idea if I want to sign Duchesne. It doesn't have to necessarily be Matt Duchesne. We can pretty much just sign whoever we want. Which, I mean, we have a couple of contract spots up anyway. Yeah, we only have $2.9 million in cap space. We technically have a little bit more. So Duchesne's not going to happen. That's fine. We can look for whoever else. Swomela, no thank you. Sanford. All right, so there's really nobody that had potential, so we'll look to sign whoever we can. We could bring in Yori Laterra for the rest of the way. We could bring Sven Andrighetto back to Montreal. Nathan Walker as well. You know what? I think I'll avoid Laterra. What do we have? You know what? Here, let me actually look at centers. Let me look at cheap centers. Jamel Smith. Decent enough face-off rating. Smith or Schaller. Let's try to bring in Jamel Smith for the rest of the year. And you know what? Because the AHL is still a bit of a mess as well, I'll also look to bring in Tim Schaller. And then left wings, Nathan Walker. You got Emerson Edom there as well. Let's bring in Nathan Walker. Australia's own Nathan Walker. And then we'll look to bring back Sven Andrighetto. You got Jamie McGinn. I mean, McGinn could be a good option. He could be. Hey, you know what? Let's sign him up. Why not? We have the spots for the rest of the year. We'll look to bring in Jamie McGinn. And then on defense, if I'm remembering right, we're pretty much good to go. We could bring back Jarabek, though. You know what? Let's see if we can bring back Jarabek for the rest of the season. And honestly, Renat Valiev, 24 years old, medium 7th. See if we can sign him up. And from there, I think we're pretty much good to go because we have McElhaney, too, as our 5th goalie. All right, so I feel like we've done a decent bit of business, and this will without a doubt be the longest episode in a while, which nobody can really be surprised by. Let's hit sim the next game. Hopefully some signings happen before we play. Ron Hainsey on waivers. 3 years left. No. Schaller's here. Andrighetto, McGinn, Walker, Jarabek, Jamel Smith declined because we have a full roster. So I would have liked to sign Jamel Smith. That didn't happen. I thought we had more spots than we did. I was wrong. But let's fix up the team. We still have champion status, and it has to be solely because of Carey Price. Like that's the only way that can still be a thing. It has to be because of Carey Price. So let's see. Again, our defense is good to go. And then for forwards, we'll send down Norris and Heinold. We'll call up McGinn. And from there, you know, Walker's technically a 4th-line guy. We can actually send Norris back down to junior, which is fine. He will continue to develop. Although I did realize, and this is a mistake that I've made, I should have signed Ball and Ty Smith. At some point, I should have signed them. And actually, are we on deadline day, or is it 1 day past it? I think we're 1 day past it now, right? Yeah, we are. See, that's the one mistake, and already I just thought of this. It's the one regret I have right now, is I should have signed both of them and then sent them back down to junior, because they can progress that way. Actually, is it too late? Can I sign Ty Smith? Will it let me? Damn it. You know what? I'm actually willing to maybe buy somebody out if I can. I can't buy somebody out mid-season? Shit. Well, admittedly, you know, if Ty Smith and Kevin Ball don't turn into anything, 100% my fault. 100%. Although, you know, players should be able to progress without being signed, but for how the game works, I know how the game works. I should have signed those two. I had a chance to a moment ago. Could have just signed them and sent them down. I didn't take advantage of that. It's 100% my fault. But anyway, we actually have one player too many. Let's see. So, I mean, Joel Ward's in a rough way, isn't he? Like, going to retire soon, kind of rough way. But I'm actually going to send down Landon Ferraro. I'm actually going to send down Landon Ferraro instead. So let's get these lines set up. Despite the fact that we're 50 minutes into this episode or whatever, we are going to sim to the rest of the year. So let's see. Can anybody play center? Greer's at a 70. Greer's at a 70. All right, so obviously Danault is going to play on that line. It's funny, though. Best Lines puts Puljujarvi there by default, and Puljujarvi is a first-line guy now. That would be why. All right. You know what? I think we'll just keep the team the same because it's pretty much irrelevant at this point. It is pretty much irrelevant what happens. So that is the team moving forward. And then down in the AHL, again, we're going to take out McElhaney. It's going to be McNiven and Hallinan now as the combo there. On defense, Quentin Hughes is there, which means Fleury, Brook, Jenks, Ruinen are scratched, and Niemelainen. But you know what? I'm all right with that. I am. I'm all right with that. I mean, I knew when I signed Jarabek that was kind of what was happening. I shouldn't have signed Jarabek, obviously. Obviously, but it was just kind of like, screw it. I was going to say something else, but I don't need another vid to be unmonetized, right, YouTube? I was going to say something else. Again, that was a mistake. I shouldn't have signed Jarabek. I shouldn't even have signed Valia, really, but at this point, it's fine. It's fine, and we get some, reinforcements for this team. Are there right wings that can be brought into the lineup? No, so it's just centers. We'll bring in Stelio, and we'll take out Veilleux for Ikonen, and we'll take out Repo for Jaskalainen. There we go. All right. So, we are going to go with the best overall players. So, that is looking like the center, or the fourth line moving forward. Let's see, we'll go with Leschyshyn. And let's see. Actually, Heino's the best center out of those, so who expected that? Can Geeky play center? No, but Bitten can. And we are good. So there you go. That is the improved AHL team. I mean, technically, we brought in some decent overall players. To be honest, I could just get rid of... I can't get rid of them, but I can just scratch Jarabek if I want to. We'll see if Laval can make the playoffs. And if they can't, then yeah, we'll take out a lot of the guys that we just signed, and we'll do it that way. But at the very least, we will sim to the end of the season. I think. To be honest, we're an hour into it. We're not going to make the playoffs. You know what, guys? I think we're going to call it here. It has been a long enough episode. What we'll do in the next one is we'll sim to the end of the season, and we'll also go through the draft, and that'll kind of catch us up. And then the episode after that will be the off season, and then we'll be good to go for the regular season. Laval, they are going to make the playoffs, so at the very least we'll be able to follow along with the Rocket as they aim to make the postseason. But needless to say, this team has changed. We have added some good potential players. The retooling is underway. Whether or not it kicks off into a full rebuild in the next episode, well, we'll just have to find out. But remember, or if you would, at the very least, we don't have to get rid of everybody. We don't have to. But I was going to say, remember, the plan is to get rid of Petrie and Weber. But let me know what you think. Again, we still have options, but, as far as like this, as far as the defense goes, or the bottom six, I should say, like McCarron and Greer are staying. We have to completely retool that. A lot of changes are coming to this team, even if we don't go with the scorched earth approach. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please, now more than ever, leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. You never know when YouTube is going to, try to kill my channel again. It's always a great thought to have in the back of my mind. It's great. These videos went from being fun, and they're still fun, but now I feel like, if I say the wrong thing, I'm screwed. So that's lovely to have that pressure. And I don't even mean say the wrong thing as go like the PewDiePie route. and really say the wrong thing. I'm just talking about casual swearing in a non-racist manner. But anyway, I'm probably digging myself a hole as it is. I love you guys. I thank you so much for the support, and I will catch you in the next one. Have a good day, goodbye, good night, whatever. See you later. Bye-bye.